Folks, welcome to your daily reading. I am using the Lightseers Tarot, and I have laid your cards out in a Celtic cross formation. For your central theme, you've got the Three of Wands. This is someone who has results coming in after they, in the past, worked very, very hard for something. This is you investing a lot of time into perhaps your job or your small business, or investing quite literally in something like investments, or putting in a lot of time and effort into growing something and exploring how it can continue to grow a very firm foundation so that you can scale it up later on. This could be anything that has to do with you trying to figure out what it is you can grow your material or physical comfort well into the future. This is earth and air energy. There's a lot of thought, there's a lot of planning that goes into this. And remember that this is past energy. I see that you're someone who is a very careful planner, who is a very meticulous worker. I might be speaking to an earth sign such as a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn. This is in your present situation. Thanks to your good, steady, hard, uncompromising work. At times you had to be stubborn to continue to do the job well, but you've got some amazing results coming in. And so now you're in a conscious state of Queen of Cups energy. This is getting into the energy of the mirror of the soul. This is water on water energy. Maybe sometimes you have issues with a lack of boundaries with people that you are deeply loving and compassionate towards in your life. This kind of gives Pisces, perhaps some Cancer energy, perhaps not. I get kind of Piscean energy associated with this particular card, and you might have that energy somewhere in your birth chart. But I sense that you're someone who is deeply intuitive, who is compassionate, and I would kind of suspect that there might be some of that energy with someone who is able to be so consistent over such a great deal of time. With the Knight of Pentacles, that's quite a bit of time, and especially with Cups, that is even more time. That's kind of slow-moving energy in both those cards. But this is moving fast with that fiery energy seen with the Wands. And not only that, this is both your challenge and your assistance card. This is what came out when I pulled for your challenge and your assisting position. It points towards the past in this particular case, which talks to me about you started thinking and speaking a whole different new way. Once you really started working hard, you gradually started to change the way that you thought and spoke about yourself, about the situation, about others, whatever it was that you were working towards. That's kind of perhaps part of the rewards of having gotten to this particular point with the Three of Wands. You're seeing some awesome results coming in, and one of those results might be just maturing when it comes to how you think, how you speak, just in general, how you think about the world as well. It's kind of implied with this particular card that you're heading into Knight of Swords energy, where you're able to think about what it is that you're planning to say, and also be able to think carefully about your thoughts. It implies that you're able to start being more comfortable with mastering your mind, instead of you being enslaved to your mind and thinking whatever, being so heavily associated with your thoughts that you don't see yourself as any different from your thoughts. This is you exploring who you are separate from whatever it is your mind thinks. And that in and of itself might be a new concept for you that you kind of need to chew on for the moment. I see you doing that in the future, but definitely the challenge here is growing into an identity past the Page of Swords. Right now, I see you getting ready to grow out of that particular identity. It doesn't fit you anymore. That's your challenge. But it's also cool, in the assistance is cool in the sense that you've already started this journey, and willingly. Okay, now this is in your subconscious position. Subconsciously, you are trusting the universe to have your back, to lead you to places where you're meant to be in order to reach your best and your highest good. I feel like in some ways I'm speaking to a highly spiritual being, especially with that Three of Wands energy. Again, we come back to your central theme. That has a lot to do with spirituality. The fire within saying you need to go in this particular direction, the fire that lights our way along our life journey. This is, well, quite literally, some divine fire, and being attached to that and allowing it to lead your heart to the places that you're meant to be. Now, in the future, you have the option to go into a hermitage kind of phase where you kind of learn to think, believe separately from the crowd. You learn to operate separately from the crowd and become a leader. In fact, people start to look to you as a role model when it comes to spiritual matters and emotional matters, relationship kinds of things, whether that's family, friends, romantic partners. People start to look to you as a spiritual, emotionally mature guide that has genuinely good advice based on the experiences that you've gained over time. This is going to be a long journey, okay? Something that definitely doesn't come overnight. Right now, I see you celebrating some good results that you've worked hard for, and I see you growing mentally, maturing that particular direction. If you continue to mentally mature towards King of Swords kind of energy, where you are the master of your mind, you are not its slave. You don't just zip along wherever it wants to take you. You tell it where it's going to go, whether that stays put, whether that does no planning, whether that takes action on some plans. You tell your mind what to do. That's going to be you in this particular energy. This is emotional mastery. This is spiritual mastery. This is you choosing to come into a time of introspection into who it is that you're truly going to be, what kind of spiritual legacy you're going to leave behind. Not just a Pentacles kind of legacy, a generational wealth kind of legacy, where you have things to pass down to your children and grandchildren that you know are going to be valuable to them in some way. And maybe that has to do with money. Excuse me. Maybe it has to do with something else. This is your future and your outcome cards put together. This is you meditating on what it is that you'd like to leave behind in terms of a legacy to the people who come up behind you. Maybe you aren't interested in having children. That's fine. What it does mean is, what would you like to leave behind to the people who come up behind you in terms of an inheritance? Maybe that's some kind of advice. Maybe you want to teach them how to be strong. This is in your advice position. If you want to get to this point where you leave behind a spiritual legacy for your inheritors to enjoy, that's going to mean that you need to recognize your inner strength and work with it, nurture it, grow with it, and go through situations where you are required to grow that internal strength. And that means that you will go through situations that will be difficult. That means that you need to nourish yourself emotionally and spiritually and mentally as you go through those rough situations. This is asking you to become a wise person in your community. And that's going to be a hard road at times, but guaranteed, whatever it is that you leave behind to the people who might be in your care right now, or who might be looking up to you as a role model right now or in the future, this is going to take real strength. And I feel like you're someone who's up for it. You've already demonstrated, excuse me, that you're someone who is willing to stick to the path, Stay committed. You're already someone who has demonstrated that, and now can you continue to grow in that energy? Please excuse my allergies. They're miserable this season. This is your environment card. The universe is blessing your behavior right now. It likes it. It is pouring out blessings because you've been working out so hard. You've been working your spiritual aspect so hard for so long that it rewards that. That's natural. That's the natural process of life when one of God's chosen, or one of your deities chosen, maybe that's God, maybe that's somebody else, but when someone works so hard, rewards are natural. They come in naturally from the universe, and I hope that you enjoy the good aspects that may be just kind of happening to you in life in general. In your hopes and your fears, this is much more about fears. I feel like you could be afraid of connecting with others. You might be so accustomed to not connecting with others, maybe to protect them, maybe to protect your own heart. You need to take that as it resonates. But you're so accustomed to not being around others that reconnecting with others might feel really intimidating. And you're asked to explore why it's intimidating for you to go through connections with others. It may be that you showed vulnerability in a particular relationship where you had every right to be vulnerable, but it was attacked in some way, and that was painful, and you remember that to this day. You're asked to heal that particular injury, let it become a scar, but don't meditate on the scar. Move forward and embrace the future as if that injury hadn't happened. And I understand and respect that might be harder than me just saying it. I respect that you've gone through a difficult time. This is slow-moving energy who possibly has gone through some real scars. This is a knight, someone who battles. Knights are the entities that go to war, remember? So you might have gotten quite a few battle scars, and in addition to generational wealth, it could be that there's some generational trauma that you unintentionally pass down, even if it's well-meaning advice that you give to the people who inherit things from you. Be cautious, because something that may have happened to you and advice that ended up working for you may not work for the next generation. And that's just a bit of a caution. It may not resonate for your situation. Please do take it as it resonates and leave it for somebody else if it doesn't. That is all for me and from this particular spread. I appreciate you watching. Thank you. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. See ya.